Hey everyone, I want to run a situation by you and see what you think. When I was growing up, my mom would tell me about how much she loved me, and I hope that you had a parent that did that for you too. And she would give us scenarios of what she would do to demonstrate her love for us. And one of the ones she gave was, she said, if there was a bad guy, because she talked to kids that way, if there was a bad guy coming for us, she would put herself in the way and she would die if needed to save us. She didn't really expound on that and give details so I could understand it better. She just wanted me to understand the sentiment. Now that I'm a parent myself, I know exactly how she feels. I would die to save my children. But at the same time, the scenario she gave didn't really make sense to me. So if there is someone fully intending to inflict harm upon a child, and there's an adult standing in the way, what would make that person not hurt the child once the adult stood in the way and got killed? They'd keep on coming, right? So yeah, I was starting to think to myself, no, I don't think that's how I would react. Yes, I would die for my children, but I'm going to die trying to take out the threat. Where did these threats even come from? If you've been in a destructive relationship, dysfunctional relationship, you may have learned through counseling that these things really happen when a child is very, very young. And it comes from not having the structure needed to redirect some of their frustrations. So a child with their parent, or a child on the playground, child with their sibling, wants to impose their will on the other individual. They will use whatever works, and they will try different tactics. So does bribery work? Does coercion work? Does threatening work? They will look for your vulnerability and play on it to their advantage. And they will do it again and again, more and more and more, until you cut them off. No more. That behavior is unacceptable. You can't do that. So here's an important key that I want you to know that I learned. When someone makes a threat, whether it's a child of, I'm just going to take my toys and go home, or you're in a romantic relationship with someone, they said, if you don't do this, I'm going to leave you. Know that they in their mind have already decided that that is an acceptable thing that they want to do, and they are just threatening you with it as long as it's useful to them, as long as you are useful to them. If you comply and the threat works and they get what they want, yes, they're going to use it again and again and again until you don't comply, or until they don't have any use for you. But they will carry out the threat. They've already decided that that's how far they're going to take it, and it's coming. So to say that it's not that, oh, if I only do this for them, then they will love me, or they will continue to play with me on the playground type thing, you're fooling yourself. They've already decided how much the relationship is worth to them and what they're willing to do to hurt you if you do not bend to their will. This is happening all over the world. It has since probably the beginning of time or shortly thereafter. And we need to recognize when we see it and draw a solid line in the sand long before these things come. If you were in high school back when I was, there is not a single high schooler, not even a homeschool high schooler like I was, who did not know the phrase, just say no to drugs. Because the people who came up with that campaign knew how important it was to prepare people long before they came to a situation, because if they weren't prepared for it, it was easier for them to go, oh, I don't know. And then the person sees that weakness and takes advantage of it and manipulates the person into doing something that they didn't feel comfortable doing at all. So what is your vulnerability? What can someone bribe you with? What can someone threaten you with? Is it your house? Is it a job? Is it the ability to enjoy certain things of life? If that's a vulnerability for you, whoever wants to impose their will on you will threaten that, and see how far they can push you past your own boundaries until they have no more use for you or until you say no. And if you think, well, I'll take a bullet for the team, I'll comply so that they'll leave whoever alone, you're kidding yourself, because they don't care about them any more than they care about you. And as soon as you are out of the way, easy access. So why would you stick your neck out for the sword of somebody who wants to take everybody's head when you could say, no, I'm going to do whatever it takes, whether it's losing a lot of comforts or securities, living a hard life, but I'm going to be there for the people that depend upon me. I'm going to be there for myself. I'm not going to cross my own boundaries. I'm going to go to bed at night, be able to sleep well, and look at myself in the mirror the next morning without any shame. I mean, which is better? Going through the hardship and being able to have that integrity and be able to be there for the people that you care about, or sacrificing yourself to delay something that's going to happen anyway? So, like what my mom said, what do I want to do? I love my kids so much, I would die for them. But I'm going to, if I have to die for them, do it in a way to make sure that the threat coming towards them doesn't ever get to them, if necessary. Be a lot more smart for me to do something that's very scary to me to stop the threat to begin with. So I understand. I know how it is. We want to be the good guys. We don't want to play by someone's game who's the bully, by the game of someone who is a psychopath. We don't want to be anything like them and use their tactics. Of course not. We want to abide by the rules. We want to obey the law. We want to be the good guy. And absolutely obey the law. Follow your own moral guidelines. But also, in the same way, follow your own moral guidelines and know where's your line? Where are you drawing it? And are you willing to stand there no matter what? No matter what freight train is threatening to run you over, and say no. That reminds me of that man, and you can hopefully look him up online, who stood in the way of a tank that was coming in to decimate the area. Just this little man. Nothing. He could have been run over at any second, and he stood in front of that tank and said no. That's very scary. But he's made an impression worldwide and changed so many lives, and probably saved many lives. Gave other people the courage to realize, hey, I can say no. When someone is doing something to me that is harmful, that is hurtful to me, I should be able to say no to that. No, you can't hurt me. You can't harm my family. That's not okay. I don't do that to you. Why do you think you can do that to me? So I wanted to run that by you, see what you thought. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on this subject, and I'll leave you with that. Hope you are having a wonderful and a strong week.